Excellent. All right. So hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Reidox4Life podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Levi, and this is Lamika Renee. And today's topic, we're focusing on how service providers are making a difference in their community. And today's guest is none other than Dr. Ronda Marshall.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes.
I'm sure our viewers would love to know who Dr. Ronda Marshall is and what inspired you to venture into the career path that you're in.
So I am actually a third generation chiropractor. I grew up, my mom is a chiropractor. I have two great uncles and a bunch of cousins. I'm the 12th in our family, extended family. There's actually two of them right down the road from me, one going in one direction and one in the other. And I practice with my mom. Growing up, you don't want to ever admit you're going to be your mom. So I always said I was going to be a vet. Went to undergrad, decided I was never going to be a vet, and ended up choosing to be a chiropractor and going into school and coming back home and practicing with her.
Wow, nice.
Excellent. So, okay, so you say you wanted to be a vet. That was your first. That was your first line of study. So, what is it that made that transition in your thought to make you want to go into chiropractic?
Oh, I don't know if you want me to say, but I found out some of the things I had to learn to do as a vet, and I was not willing to do it. I joke even in practice now, if I have to glove up, I refer out. And there were things I was going to have to do with cows that I did not want to do. And to be honest, I think I always knew I wanted to be a chiropractor. I just didn't want to admit that I was going to be my mom. So I was always pre-med in undergrad, and I ended up running a rescue. I actually ran a dog rescue for a long time while I was a chiropractor, because I do still love animals, and I've thought about going into animal chiropractic, but really it ended up being babies and moms and families that are my thing, and I love working with people.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
It's all fulfilling. The chiropractic service is all fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what, Dr. Ronda, it's always great to work with your mother or your parent, because I can say for me, I have a history of cosmetology. My mother's a cosmetologist, my sister's a cosmetologist. I have cousins that are so it's instilled in us. So no matter what direction I think we go in, we're going to end up right where we are today. So
Right. It's a lifestyle, right? Like you grew up in that lifestyle, and I grew up in chiropractic.
yeah.
So for me, chiropractic became a lifestyle, and I didn't really see anything else better to do with my life as an adult.
Yes, excellent.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that, man. That is that is some good information right there. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. So, Dr. Marshall, what is the one thing that you wish you knew upon the onset of your career?
So I think, well, one, I joke, I never knew all the paperwork involved. I go into this, and my goal is to make people live a healthier, better lifestyle, and, like getting rid of nervous system interference, and everybody being happier and healthier. And you never knew as a kid that I'd have paperwork and all of that. And then I think too, as you said, going in with your family, there's a lot that goes with working with a parent. So I think it's not even necessarily chiropractic, but knowing how things are transitioning in the business world and things that I want to do, and how they're different than the way that my mom did things, and transitioning and becoming, my mom was my boss in my life, and now she was kind of a boss at work in the beginning before I started my own. And just figuring out the dynamic of working as adults together and not just her being my mom. And I think even with like the new things that I'm doing with coaching and I call it my girl gang, and my outside of the business that's growing the practice is very different than the way that my mom ran her practice.
Wow, that's impressive. Let me ask you this. What advice would you give other family dynamics in the same situation as you, working with a sibling or either with a parent, in the same practice? What advice would you give them to help them into slow some things or speed things up and cut out a bunch of arguing and you know,
Yeah.
back and forth?
I think for me, I have to remember, obviously, I respect my mom. I mean,
Yes,
she's my mom, first and foremost. I mean,
yes,
she brought me into this. She gave me a lot of benefits and a lot of perks that most people starting to practice would not have had.
yes.
And I have to kind of breathe and respect that and see where she's coming from. I've been in practice 18 years. She's been in practice 42 years. So I have to remember that my way, although it's new, I have to kind of explain the new way to do things with her. Um, and and this has been her life forever, and I have to give her grace that she's already built something amazing, and I just want to do things a little bit different and in my way. I think that I should have started my transition earlier and been more upfront and not as, I'm not going to say I'm afraid, but not as afraid to talk to my mom about what I wanted out of my practice. Yeah.
What habits have you embedded to help you succeed, and what lessons did you take from them?
Scheduling and planning, I would say. I think you guys have heard it to be a student of your calendar, as not just being a chiropractor and owning a practice and then doing all the other things that I do in the community with my gang of five that has kind of created its own entity business on its own. I need to make sure that everything is planned and scheduled, because you run out of time, and I would spiral really quickly between my two kids, my practice, and all the other things that I'm doing. So making sure, and I even now, like, I love the BDC calendar, that big year calendar. I never had done that in the beginning, but having everything laid out for the year has really been beneficial for me to make sure I'm executing, planning, and staying on top of all the things I need to do.
Wow, wow, that's impressive. You plan 12 months out.
A lot of it. There's things that pop up. Don't I mean? There's always things that pop up and new ideas and like, oh yeah, we should do that. And you know, we pull it together as the
Right.
team at our office. But I have that big wall calendar, and it has been the best thing for me. And I just started that. I mean, I've been in practice 18 years. I'm still learning a lot of new things. I'm sure as you guys, you know, your mistakes help you and you start to learn all kinds of new things and ways to better your business and lifestyle.
Exactly, exactly. So scheduling planning is also very, very important, you know, for us all. You know, I know I fall short on my scheduling and also my planning, you know, because you know, we do have things that you know, that runs together, you know, by accident, right? You know, we schedule two things, you know, for the same time on the same day. And okay, we have those issues at times. And so we're all been victims of that, but that's where scheduling and planning come in, and checking and double checking.
Well, and also being, like you said, things happen, things come up, but to be, you know, that you can be resilient enough to figure it out and make it happen and make it work.
Yes, definitely.
So my question for you, doctor, is how does your mom feel about that? Because it is, you know, we talk about, well, you talked about things that are advancing over time, and how, you know, sometimes, you know, we say kind of comfortable in where you're at. And with the planning of the scheduling, your mother, does she write things on the schedule? Because it sounds like Black Diamond is kind of bringing that old school back.
Yeah. So we sat down and did it together. There's a lot of it. And you have to remember too, we're at two different phases in our career, right? I'm not going to say she's leaving, but she's starting to slow down and I'm really starting to amp up. So we kind of have to meet in the middle and figure out what part she wants to be a part of and what part I want to be a part of. I always include her, and I guess you'd have to ask her how she feels about the planning and the scheduling and all the things that we're doing that we never did before. I think she gets excited, and I think sometimes she gets a little overwhelmed. I mean, I always joke in Black Diamond Club and in my accountability group with even with Lacey, my coach, is I am doing all the things. You know, like that's my big thing is I didn't sign up to grow as a human and grow as a person and grow as a business owner to not try to do all the things. So, and I think my mom's like, wait, I don't want to do all the things. You know? So she gets to pick and choose what things she wants to be a part of and what things I do.
Mhm.
So
We
just
would
making
love
sure
to have
she
her on.
Oh, I'll let her know. She does not like being interviewed. But you know what? Either do I in the past. So I would love for that.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Excellent. And that's great. Hey, so Dr. Marshall, what would be another good piece of advice you would pass on to the younger chiropractors just coming into the field and and just now getting their feet wet and and eager and and want to just and just help everybody. What would you say to that young person?
I would say make yourself uncomfortable. I think in the beginning I played it really safe. I didn't do a lot of the things that I want, like this, talking to somebody and being questioned and on video. I used to be really, I still am shy. I tell everybody I'm shy. They don't believe me. But I'm really focusing on doing things that make me uncomfortable to grow.
Mm.
And again, not just in practice, but in life in general. I think that if we stay in our comfort zone, we're never going to grow. So make yourself uncomfortable and do things that make you squirm a little bit.
Yes,
I
definitely.
love that.
Definitely. I love that also, man. Well, that is some solid advice, Dr. Marshall. Hey, is there anything else you would like to add to this?
No, I think you guys did a great job. It was a pleasure being on. You guys made it very easy because this makes me uncomfortable. So
Well, that's
you guys
good.
made it very easy.
Well, that's good, folks. You heard it from Dr. Marshall herself, right? How can hey, that's some great. So how can listeners and viewers get in touch with you to to get your service or acquire your service?
So I'm based out of Michigan. I'm just north of Detroit. Our website is vaughnchiropractic.net, VAUGHN. They can find me on social media. We also have a girls group, my girl gang that I always say. We have a women's group that I'm a part of called Social Oak, also on social media. So yeah, social media or the internet, but we're in Michigan.
Excellent. There you have it, folks. Dr. Marshall. She is available on social media through all outlets. And hey, thanks again, hey, for watching and listening or tuning in to the Reidox4Life podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Levi, and this is Lamika Renee. And thank you again, Dr. Marshall, for your advice and also your words of inspiration. Okay.
Thank you guys.
Have a great day.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
For now.